The quantum drive of the Starweaver hummed with a low, ominous vibration that resonated through Captain Varlek's exoskeleton. Around him, the bridge crew of the Jareen exploration vessel moved with a mixture of anticipation and barely concealed fear. The ship's navigation systems displayed a constellation of warning markers, each one a crimson beacon screaming a singular message: "Do not ap poro, oishi." For 3 standard galactic cycles, the sector surrounding the blue-green planet had been a forbidden zone. No official explanation existed in any diplomatic archive. No historical record detailed the origin of the quarantine. It was as if someone had simply erased the context, leaving behind only a stern interdiction that no species dared to challenge. Until now. Varlek was not like other captains. His scientific reputation in the Jareen Exploratory Corps was a complex tapestry of brilliant discoveries and controversial decisions. Where other researchers accepted established boundaries, he saw them as invitations to investigate. The mysterious Earth sector represented the ultimate scientific challenge. "Navigator Krell," he clicked, his mandibles clicking with a rhythm that betrayed his excitement. Analysis of the planetary scanning data. Krell's multiple eyes shifted uncomfortably, a gesture of deep professional unease. The holographic display between them flickered to life, revealing layers of data that defied conventional understanding. The planet showed signs of massive technological infrastructure, complex electromagnetic networks that circled the globe like an intricate nervous system. "Captain," Krell began, his translator rendering his clicks and chirps into a measured tone. "Our preliminary scans suggest a civilization that has somehow managed total planetary modification without triggering the typical development markers we associate with spacefaring races. Most species followed a predictable pattern of technological evolution. First, rudimentary radio communications, then satellite networks, gradual expansion of technological complexity. But Earth was different. Its technological signature suggested a civilization that had somehow leaked multiple developmental stages simultaneously. The ship's quantum sensors detected something even more peculiar. Multiple layers of communication technologies existed simultaneously, some primitive, some so advanced they seemed to bend the very rules of information transfer. It was as if the planet hosted multiple technological civilizations simultaneously, all somehow integrated into a single complex system. "The quarantine makes no scientific sense," Varlek muttered, more to himself than to his crew. Galactic law was clear. Planets under total interdiction were typically marked as either extremely dangerous or under some form of special protection. But the records for this sector were conspicuously blank. No explanation, no rationale. Just a stern warning that crossed multiple diplomatic jurisdictions. Krell's secondary processing nodes were working overtime. The electromagnetic emissions suggest a species with remarkable adaptive capabilities. "Look here," he manipulated the holographic display, showing rapid technological shifts occurring across multiple domains simultaneously. Communication networks that could instantly reconfigure. Energy grids that seemed to anticipate and redistribute load before potential failures. Transportation systems that appeared chaotic, but revealed profound underlying intelligence upon deeper analysis. "They're solving problems we haven't even conceived of," Varlek whispered. The bridge grew silent. Every member of the crew understood the magnitude of what they were witnessing. This was not just another planetary survey. This was a potential paradigm shift in understanding technological evolution. Varlek's decision was already made. The standard protocol would be to send an automated probe, maintain maximum distance, collect data from a safe range. But standard protocols had never satisfied his scientific curiosity. "Prepare a direct approach vector," he commanded. "We're going to get close enough to understand." Krell's protest died before it could fully form. He knew his captain. When Varlek made a decision, the universe itself seemed to bend around his determination. As the Starweaver began its approach, something else happened. Something that would later be described as the moment everything changed. The planet seemed to notice them. Not with weapons, not with aggressive signals, but with a complexity of response that suggested awareness far beyond what any known civilization could generate. First contact was moments away, and nothing would ever be the same again. The Advanced Threat Assessment Center rose from the New Mexico desert like a mirage, a complex of buildings that looked simultaneously mundane and impossible. From the outside, it appeared to be nothing more than a collection of low-slung research facilities. The truth was far more complex. Dr. Emma Rodriguez stood before a wall of quantum entanglement monitors, her dark eyes reflecting a constellation of data streams that would look like nonsense to anyone else. She'd spent the last decade preparing for this moment, a potential first contact scenario that most of her colleagues believed was pure fantasy. "We have incoming," she said quietly. The room didn't change. No alarms blared. No dramatic music swelled. Just a subtle shift in atmosphere as her team, a carefully selected group of scientists, linguists, and strategic analysts, began to move with practiced precision. Dr. Michael Chen, her longtime research partner, approached the primary quantum array. His fingers danced across holographic interfaces, filtering and analyzing the incoming signals with a speed that bordered on prescience. "It's not like any approach we've simulated," he muttered. The alien vessel's scanning patterns were polite. That was the only word Emma could use to describe them. Most theoretical first contact scenarios assumed aggressive reconnaissance or military-style information gathering. This felt more like an academic survey. Methodical, almost respectful. "They're using a quantum communication method we've only theorized," Chen said, a note of professional excitement creeping into his voice. "Look at the signal modulation. It's not just information transfer. It's almost a form of mathematical poetry." Emma understood immediately. The aliens weren't just scanning. They were communicating, attempting to establish a baseline of mutual understanding through pure mathematical language. "Prepare response protocol Omega," she commanded. The team knew exactly what that meant. Years of classified preparation were about to be put to the test. Response protocol Omega was more than just a communication strategy. It was a carefully designed psychological profile of humanity, a message that would simultaneously inform, misdirect, and challenge. The quantum array began to pulse, not with radio waves, not with electromagnetic signals, but with a complex series of quantum-entangled particles that carried information in ways most scientists still considered theoretical. Each pulse was a carefully constructed message, layers of mathematical complexity that would reveal humanity's capabilities while concealing its true potential. "They're tracking us," Chen observed, but not like a threat. More like a fascinating specimen. Emma allowed herself a slight smile. Let them think of humanity as a specimen. Underestimation had always been humanity's greatest weapon. The first full data package began to take shape. It wasn't just information about human civilization. It was a deliberate puzzle. Mathematical challenges interwoven with cultural snapshots. A picture of a species that was simultaneously destructive and creative, primitive, and advanced. Climate change data sat alongside ecological restoration projects. Military technology specifications were placed next to medical research breakthroughs. Economic models were juxtaposed with philosophical treatises. Each piece of information was a carefully placed chess piece. "They're trying to understand our complexity," Emma whispered. Her team had spent years developing this response. Not a simple greeting, not a declaration of peaceful intentions, but a comprehensive challenge, an invitation that was also a test. The coordinates they would soon transmit weren't random. A remote research facility in Nevada, carefully chosen for its proximity to historical sites of technological innovation and strategic military significance, a location that would simultaneously intrigue and unsettle their alien visitors. "Transmission ready," Chen announced. Emma nodded. This wasn't just first contact. This was humanity's first true test on the galactic stage. The quantum array pulsed, and somewhere in the vast darkness between stars, everything changed. Jack Thompson studied the transmission draft like a battlefield map, which in many ways it was. The conference room at the Advanced Threat Assessment Center was a study in controlled tension. 12 of the most brilliant minds humanity could assemble, scientists, diplomats, military strategists, and linguistic experts, had been working for 72 consecutive hours. "This isn't just a message," Thompson said, his weathered hands tracing the quantum encryption patterns. "This is a declaration." Dr. Emma Rodriguez and Dr. Michael Chen exchanged a look. Thompson wasn't just a military liaison. He was a veteran who had spent 2 decades in special operations, transitioning into diplomatic intelligence. His entire career had been about understanding the subtle art of communication as a strategic weapon. "The mathematical language is crucial," Chen insisted. "We're not just sending coordinates. We're sending a comprehensive profile of human complexity." The invitation was a masterpiece of psychological warfare disguised as a diplomatic overture. Each layer of the transmission contained multiple levels of meaning. The geographical coordinates to the Nevada Research Facility were more than just a location. They were a carefully constructed narrative. Latitude and longitude became a complex mathematical puzzle. The exact distance between proposed meeting points encoded additional information about human technological capabilities. Even the time of transmission was a message, precise to the microsecond, revealing humanity's understanding of quantum temporal mechanics. "They'll know we're watching," Thompson said. "And they'll know we want them to know we're watching." Admiral Karen Reynolds, the senior military strategist, had been silent until now. Her reputation preceded her, a tactician who had redesigned global defense strategies in the wake of emerging technological threats. "The facility we're offering," she said, "it's not just a meeting point. It's a statement." The Nevada Research Center was strategically positioned, close enough to historical sites of technological innovation like Area 51 to trigger alien curiosity, but sophisticated enough to demonstrate humanity's technological advancement. Underground research levels, quantum communication arrays, biological research facilities that hinted at capabilities far beyond simple planetary technology. "We're presenting them with a challenge," Emma explained. "Not a threat, not a submission, a challenge." The transmission would include carefully curated data packets, glimpses of human technological prowess, ecological restoration projects that showed planetary management capabilities, medical research demonstrating adaptive biological technologies, fragments of cultural achievements that suggested a species of profound complexity. Michael Chen had spent weeks designing the quantum encryption. It wasn't just about protecting the message. It was about demonstrating a level of communication technology that would both intrigue and unsettle the alien visitors. "Each layer of encryption is itself a message," he explained. "We're showing them that our defensive capabilities are as sophisticated as our communication technologies." Jack Thompson's military background saw the transmission as a tactical engagement. Every piece of information was a potential weapon, every mathematical sequence a defensive strategy. "We're telling them," he said slowly, "that humanity is not a species to be underestimated." The final version of the transmission took shape like a complex mathematical sculpture. Not a simple greeting, not a standard diplomatic communication, but a comprehensive profile of a species that defied conventional understanding. The coordinates included subtle mathematical challenges. Embedded within the transmission were quantum encrypted puzzles that would take their most advanced researchers years to fully decode. Each puzzle was itself a demonstration of human intellectual capability. "They'll know we're watching," Emma repeated Thompson's earlier statement, "and they'll know we're ready." As the transmission prepared to launch, the room fell silent. This was more than a first contact scenario. This was humanity's first true engagement on an interstellar diplomatic stage. The quantum array began to pulse. Somewhere in the vast darkness between stars, a message was being sent. A message that would change everything. The Nevada Research Facility looked ordinary from a distance. A collection of low-slung buildings nestled against the stark desert landscape. But ordinary was the last word that described what was about to happen. Captain Varlek's landing craft descended with a precision that spoke of centuries of technological refinement. Its quantum stabilizers created a field of distortion that made the very air shimmer, turning the surrounding desert into a landscape of liquid mirages. Jack Thompson stood at the forward observation point, his tactical neural implant running multiple threat assessments per microsecond. Beside him, Dr. Emma Rodriguez and Dr. Michael Chen represented humanity's scientific front. To an outside observer, they looked calm. Beneath the surface, every system was primed and ready. The alien craft touched down exactly 37.2 meters from the predetermined coordinates, a level of precision that was both impressive and subtly threatening. "They followed our mathematical invitation to the micron," Chen whispered. First contact was nothing like the historical documentaries or science fiction narratives had imagined. No dramatic music, no overwhelming technological display, just a careful, almost academic approach. The Jareen delegation emerged in a formation that suggested both scientific curiosity and military preparedness. Their exoskeletons shifted colors slightly, a biological communication method that suggested emotional states far more complex than simple verbal language. Captain Varlek moved first. Each step was a calculated demonstration of both technological capability and biological adaptability. His multiple sensory organs scanned the environment with a sophistication that made human surveillance technology look primitive. "Greetings," he communicated, the translation systems rendering his complex series of clicks and chromatic shifts into surprisingly nuanced English. Jack Thompson stepped forward. His military background and diplomatic training merged into a singular presence. "Welcome to Earth," he responded, each word chosen with the precision of a mathematical equation. The initial moments were a dance of calculated reveals. The humans demonstrated no fear, no aggression, just a studied, almost academic interest. Dr. Rodriguez began the first true communication, not with words, but with a holographic display that unfolded like a living mathematical proof. Layers of planetary data, ecological systems, technological networks, cultural complexity, began to materialize around them. "We understand you've been studying us," she said. It wasn't a question. Varlek's sensory organs shifted in a pattern that suggested profound surprise. The humans weren't reacting as any catalogued species had ever reacted to first contact. They weren't displaying submission. They weren't displaying aggression. They were displaying intellectual engagement. Dr. Chen activated the next layer of their presentation. Quantum communication arrays began to pulse, creating a complex field of information exchange that was simultaneously a greeting, a challenge, and a demonstration of technological capability. The Jareen delegation realized something profound in that moment. This wasn't a first contact scenario. This was a strategic engagement. Varlek's secondary processing systems worked overtime, analyzing the multilayered communication. The humans were presenting information, but each presentation was itself a complex puzzle. Scientific achievements were intertwined with cultural narratives. Technological capabilities were embedded within philosophical frameworks. "You've been waiting for us," Varlek communicated, his translation systems rendering a statement that was part question, part observation. Jack Thompson's slight smile was answer enough. The desert around them seemed to hold its breath. This was more than a meeting between two species. This was the moment humanity would be evaluated by an interstellar civilization. And humanity was going to make absolutely certain they would not be found wanting. The demonstration chamber was a marvel of controlled revelation. Dr. Michael Chen moved with the precision of a surgeon and the excitement of an explorer charting unknown territories. Behind him, holographic interfaces shimmered with layers of complexity that made the Jareen technological displays look almost primitive. "We'll start with something simple," Chen announced, his voice carrying a subtle challenge. Captain Varlek and his scientific team watched with a mixture of professional curiosity and barely concealed apprehension. Simple, they were learning, was not a word that applied to humans. The first demonstration began with quantum communication technology. But this was no ordinary display. Chen activated a series of entangled particle networks that seemed to defy the fundamental laws of information transfer. Instantaneous communication across multiple quantum states, with encryption levels that made the Zharine's most advanced systems look like children's puzzles. What you're seeing, Chen explained, is not just a communication method. It's a living information ecosystem. Each quantum link was adaptive. The communication channels could instantaneously reconfigure, creating multiple layers of simultaneous communication that could shift, merge, and divide faster than any known technological system could process. Dr. Emma Rodriguez stepped forward with the next revelation. A holographic model of Earth's planetary management systems materialized, not just a static display, but a living, breathing representation of global infrastructure. Observe, she said, our approach to planetary-scale problem-solving. A hologram showed complex environmental restoration projects, entire ecological systems that had been on the brink of collapse, now thriving through a combination of technological intervention and biological engineering. Atmospheric carbon reduction methods that were simultaneously removing greenhouse gases and creating new economic opportunities. The Zharine delegation realized they were witnessing something unprecedented. This wasn't just technological capability. This was systemic thinking that integrated technology, ecology, economics, and social systems into a single adaptive framework. Captain Varlek's secondary sensory organs worked overtime, processing the implications. Humanity wasn't just solving problems. They were reimagining the very concept of problem solving. Jack Thompson introduced the next layer of demonstration, a glimpse into human adaptive technologies, medical nanosystems that could reconstruct cellular structures, adaptive neural interfaces that blurred the line between biological and technological systems. We don't just develop technology, Thompson explained. We evolve with it. A series of medical breakthrough holographs showed regenerative technologies that could repair previously irreparable genetic damage, neurological interfaces that could help individuals with severe disabilities not just survive, but thrive. Dr. Chen activated the final demonstration, a quantum computing system that was less a machine and more a living, adaptive intelligence. Unlike traditional AI, this system didn't just process information. It learned, evolved, and integrated with human cognitive processes in real time. This is not artificial intelligence, Chen said quietly. This is collaborative intelligence. The computing system began to solve complex multidimensional problems, its processing patterns shifting and adapting in real time. It wasn't just calculating. It was reasoning, creating, imagining. Captain Varlek understood then what made humans truly unique. They didn't see technology as a tool to be used. They saw it as a partner to be developed, a collaborative system that could grow and evolve alongside biological intelligence. Each demonstration was carefully curated, impressive but not overwhelming, revealing but not complete. The humans were showing their capabilities, but also showing that they were holding something back. It was a message as clear as any verbal communication. We are powerful, and we are choosing to show you only a fraction of what we can do. As the final holographic displays faded, a profound silence filled the chamber. The Zharine delegation had come expecting to catalog a pre-spaceflight civilization. They were discovering something far more complex, far more dangerous, far more fascinating. Humanity was not a species to be studied. Humanity was a force to be understood. The cultural presentation was nothing like the Zharine expected. Captain Varlek found himself in a multimedia environment that defied every known method of information transmission. It wasn't a simple historical overview. It was a living, breathing tapestry of human complexity, a deliberate demonstration of a species defined by its contradictions. Jack Thompson began the presentation with what seemed, at first, like a paradox. Footage of global conflicts played alongside scenes of unprecedented humanitarian efforts. A war documentary transitioned seamlessly into a medical research breakthrough. Military technology Demonstrations merge with artistic performances. "We are not a simple species," Thompson narrated. "We are a complex system of contradictions." The holographic displays began to weave a narrative that was part historical document, part philosophical exploration. A single screen would show humanity's most destructive moments: wars, environmental damage, technological failures, while simultaneously displaying extraordinary acts of creativity, compassion, and resilience. A scene of environmental devastation would dissolve into massive reforestation projects. Images of technological warfare would transition to medical technology, saving millions of lives. Urban destruction would give way to architectural innovations that merged human habitation with ecological restoration. Dr. Emma Rodriguez stepped forward, her presentation methodology as much a work of art as scientific communication. "Understanding humanity," she explained, "requires embracing complexity." The cultural profile they presented was a deliberate psychological challenge. The Jareen were used as species with linear developmental paths, civilizations that followed predictable patterns of technological and social evolution. Humanity defied every known model. They showed economic systems that simultaneously demonstrated extreme inequality and unprecedented collaborative potential. Social movements that emerged from systemic oppression, transforming entire cultural narratives. Technological innovations born from the most challenging human circumstances. A segment demonstrated human problem-solving approached from multiple perspectives. A single technological challenge would be presented with solutions from different cultural, philosophical, and technological frameworks. Where other species might see a problem as having a singular solution, humans saw infinite possibilities. Dr. Michael Chen's contribution was particularly revealing. He presented a comprehensive overview of human scientific methodologies, a system that celebrated failure as much as success. Most species saw failure as a weakness. Humans saw it as a critical part of innovation. "We don't just tolerate failure," Chen explained. "We systematize it. We learn from it. We transform it." The Jareen delegation watched footage of human scientific experiments, not just the successful ones, but the spectacular failures. Each failure was meticulously documented, analyzed, and used as a foundation for future innovation. The cultural presentation became a living demonstration of human adaptability. They showed ecological restoration projects that transformed devastated landscapes, medical technologies that emerged from conflict zones, educational systems that continuously reinvented themselves. Jack Thompson's military background informed the next segment, a demonstration of human strategic thinking. War documentation was presented not as a celebration of conflict, but as a complex study of human adaptation, technological innovation, and psychological resilience. "Conflict for us is not just destruction," Thompson explained. "It's a catalyst for transformation." The most profound moment came unexpectedly. Amidst complex technological and cultural presentations, they showed something simple: human art, music that emerged from the most challenging human experiences, visual art that transformed pain into beauty, literary works that captured the complexity of human emotional experience. Captain Varlick realized something profound. Humanity wasn't just a technological species. They were an adaptive ecosystem, a living, breathing system of continuous transformation. Where other species saw challenges as obstacles, humans saw opportunities for innovation. Where other civilizations sought stability, humans thrived on dynamic change. As the presentation concluded, the Jareen delegation understood they were dealing with something unprecedented in galactic history. Humanity was not a civilization to be categorized. Humanity was a force of nature waiting to be understood. The negotiation chamber was nothing like traditional diplomatic spaces. Designed by Dr. Emma Rodriguez and her team, it was a living environment that seemed to adapt in real time to the conversation's dynamics. Admiral Karen Reynolds took the lead, her presentation a masterpiece of strategic communication. She wasn't offering an alliance. She was proposing a fundamental reimagining of galactic engagement. "We're not interested in joining your existing systems," Reynolds began, her voice calm and absolutely certain. "We're proposing something entirely new." The holographic displays began to unfold a comprehensive vision that was equal parts scientific proposal and philosophical challenge. Humanity wasn't seeking integration. They were offering a complete restructuring of interstellar cooperation. Dr. Michael Chen activated the first layer of the proposal, a quantum communication network that would fundamentally transform how different civilizations could interact. Unlike existing galactic communication systems, this network was adaptive, self-healing, and capable of instantaneous reconfiguration. "Imagine," Chen explained, "a communication system that doesn't just transmit information. It evolves with the information it carries." The Jareen delegation watched in growing complexity of emotion. The humans were presenting more than a technological solution. They were presenting an entirely new paradigm of interaction. Captain Varlek's secondary processing systems worked overtime. This wasn't a typical first contact scenario. This was a comprehensive redesign of interstellar engagement. Jack Thompson introduced the next layer, a strategic framework for collaborative problem-solving that transcended traditional diplomatic models. Humanity proposed a system where different civilizations could contribute to solving complex galactic challenges without traditional hierarchical structures. Environmental restoration projects, technological innovation exchanges, cultural knowledge networks. Each proposal was carefully constructed to demonstrate humanity's unique approach to collective problem-solving. The most radical proposition came from an unexpected source. Dr. Emma Rodriguez presented a framework for what she called adaptive civilization development. It wasn't about conquering or competing. It was about creating a dynamic, evolving network of species that could learn from each other's unique capabilities. "We're not offering to lead," Rodriguez explained. "We're offering to collaborate in ways no one has imagined." The proposal included technological exchange mechanisms that went beyond simple information sharing. Quantum entanglement communication networks that could allow instantaneous knowledge transfer. Adaptive learning systems that could help species understand each other's fundamental cognitive frameworks. Admiral Reynolds revealed the strategic underpinning. Humanity had been preparing for this moment for decades, not through military preparation, but through comprehensive study of potential interstellar challenges. Climate stabilization technologies, resource management strategies, conflict resolution frameworks that didn't rely on traditional power dynamics. The Jareen delegation realized they were witnessing something unprecedented. Humanity wasn't just offering a technological solution. They were presenting a completely new model of civilization development. "We understand," Captain Varlek communicated, his translation systems capturing the complexity of his emotional state, "that you've been aware of galactic civilizations for some time." It wasn't a question. It was an observation. Jack Thompson's slight smile was the only confirmation needed. The final layer of the presentation was perhaps the most profound. Humanity wasn't just proposing a technological or diplomatic framework. They were offering a philosophical approach to species development that transcended traditional understanding. Collaborative intelligence, adaptive problem-solving. A network of civilizations that could learn, grow, and transform together. The negotiation chamber seemed to pulse with potential. The Jareen delegation understood they were experiencing more than a first contact scenario. They were witnessing the potential birth of an entirely new way of understanding interstellar civilization. Humanity wasn't asking to join the galactic community. Humanity was proposing to reimagine it. The Jareen vessel Starweaver prepared to depart Earth's solar system, but this was no ordinary departure. Something fundamental had changed in the fabric of galactic understanding. Captain Varlek reviewed the mission logs in his private quarters, his multiple sensory organs shifting through colors that represented emotions far more complex than any human language could describe. What had begun as a routine reconnaissance mission had become something exponentially more significant. Humanity was not what any galactic civilization had expected. In the research facility below, Dr. Emma Rodriguez, Dr. Michael Chen, and Jack Thompson watched the alien craft's preparations with a mixture of scientific curiosity and strategic calculation. They weren't saying goodbye. They were marking the beginning of something unprecedented. Admiral Karen Reynolds entered the observation room, her presence carrying the weight of decades of classified preparation. "They're taking exactly what we want them to take," she said quietly. The data packages prepared for the Jareen were carefully curated, not complete, but precisely calibrated to generate maximum intrigue. Each piece of information was a strategic seed designed to grow in the fertile ground of alien curiosity. Captain Varlek's mission report was already taking shape, a document that would send shockwaves through multiple galactic administrative systems. The quarantine of Earth was not just unnecessary. It had been a profound misunderstanding of a species that defied conventional categorization. Humanity had been aware of galactic civilizations for far longer than anyone suspected. But awareness was not the same as engagement. They had been preparing, studying, developing technologies and strategies in careful, methodical silence. The quantum communication arrays in the research facility began to pulse, not with outgoing messages, but with complex mathematical sequences that would continue to challenge and intrigue the Jareen long after their departure. Each sequence was a puzzle, a challenge, an invitation to deeper understanding. "They'll spend decades trying to fully decode what we've just shared," Michael Chen observed, a subtle smile playing across his features. Jack Thompson's perspective was more tactical. "And in those decades, we'll be preparing our next move." The alien vessel's departure was a study in technological elegance. Its quantum drive created ripples in space-time that were both beautiful and terrifying, a visual metaphor for the fundamental shift that had just occurred. Inside the Starweaver, Captain Varlek's crew worked to process the implications of their mission. They had arrived expecting to catalog a pre-spaceflight civilization. They were departing with a comprehensive understanding that humanity was something entirely different, a living, adaptive system of innovation, a species that saw challenges as opportunities, a civilization that didn't just adapt to change, it embraced and accelerated it. The mission logs would show multiple layers of revelation, technological capabilities that redefined understanding of scientific potential, cultural complexity that challenged every known model of species development, a strategic approach to problem-solving that was simultaneously collaborative and revolutionary. Dr. Emma Rodriguez watched the vessel's quantum signature fade from their sensors. "They'll be back," she said. It wasn't a prediction. It was a certainty. Admiral Reynolds nodded. The groundwork had been laid. The first careful step in a much larger strategy had been executed with precision. Humanity had not just made first contact. Humanity had initiated a fundamental transformation of galactic civilization's understanding of itself. In the vast darkness between stars, something fundamental had changed. The quarantine of Earth was over. Not through conflict, not through aggression, but through a demonstration of potential so profound that it rendered old paradigms obsolete. The Jareen would return, other civilizations would follow, and humanity would be ready. Not as conquerors, not as supplicants, but as partners in a grand, unimaginable future. The stars themselves seemed to hold their breath, waiting to see what humanity would do next.